Good morning, all. I'd like to begin with the call to order and the pledge of allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. No.
Okay, very good. We'll begin with old business number one. It's been a couple of months since you've been before us. This is 610 Sag Main Street.
First, you got the minutes not being ready.
Okay, you want to take a vote on it? Okay. We will, I guess, are we adjourning the approval? No, you don't. You don't adjourn. Okay, so we're stepping over the fact that we don't have the minutes for November prepared yet. And so we'll continue as I stated. Is someone here for LST Property Holdings LLC? Yes?
That's right.
Yeah, okay, that's what I thought. Very good.
Do we know if a representative from Ahrb
This is who we have on, who do you have any of them?
and is it Eric? All right, we'll get started with that. Good morning or good afternoon, everybody. My name is Jörg Thürne. I'm an architect with Billy Cotton Studio, and my colleague Natalie Wall here from India Corolla Architects. We both work as representatives for LST Property Holdings, designing the facade, redesigning the facade, and changes to the windows of the property at 610 Sag Main Road. I did want to point out, and the board has received a letter from Ahrb, Brown, Goldstein, and Marigolden LLP in support of our proposed submission, or our submission here, stating that that they have reviewed the submission and also reviewed it in comparison to previous approved.
We did
projects.
receive that.
You did receive that. Okay, very good. No problem. So, what we would like to start out with was reviewing the two facades that have been mostly, or had the most questions, so the board had the most questions about, which was the east and the west facade. And so if we could please move to page number 24 of the presentation. Again, I would like to overall state that we did focus on those two facades because they were mainly concerned by the board. We have changed the design to a net zero area change of the glazing of the house. And we'll take you through the places where, you know, we made adjustments. So here on the west facade, we overall reduced the area, the glass area compared to the previous design by 10%. And mainly we did this, and maybe if we can go to the next page, please, by reducing the width of the sliders on that facade. So, yeah, if we can go to the next page. You can see here, if we kind of go back and forth, this one, this first slide is the previously proposed design. And if we switch to the next one, you see that the sliders have been reduced in width. And then we also changed on the second floor, one sliding door to a single glass swing door. And then we also combined a larger window to the right side of it, and at the center, if you look at the center sort of dormer to the right side of that window got smaller. Overall, on this facade, the second floor units are either remain or are getting smaller. Remain the same size or got smaller. One thing we did also want to point out on this rendering is the fact that we switched the previously white marble deck of the house to a wood deck. So that helps very much with reducing reflectance off of that material into the sky. Right, and so Natalie will take you through some of the more detailed numbers of the facade. We can go to
On page 27, the next page. So these are more detailed elevation drawings of all the changes that York has described. And if you go to the next page again. On top is the existing glass area. In the middle is the proposed design dated July, and then on the ground floor, it's a current proposed design. And in the middle diagram, the area shaded in green, those are the area of glass that has been reduced to become our current design. So as you can see, all the second floor window area has been reduced. By merging two sliding doors into one, making that large picture window into small window. This is
28, I believe.
Yeah, it's 28, it's not much.
Yeah, that's correct. We did present this design on August 28th, and we wanted to present this design to the board again in conjunction with some additional nighttime photography that we took.
which is the next.
So if you could go to the next page.
Sorry. Yeah.
Page 34.
Right. So what we did is we did go and found an area across the pond, on the other side of the pond, because we had heard that was something that the board was concerned about. And what we found from looking at our property from that other side of the pond is that from a 5-foot vantage point, you can see the house, but the ground floor windows are mostly obscured for the most part. And so in addressing the size of the second floor windows, we hope that this will, help with the visibility or reducing the visibility of the house across the pond. One thing to note here also is that the clients and our design team is planning on adding additional landscaping, which we don't have a plan for yet, but that is certainly something that will also help soften the view of the house from that side. So the next facade we did want to review was the east facade. If you can go to page number 404 in the presentation. So this is again the driveway facade of the property. This is the existing condition. If we go to the next sheet, this was our initially proposed design, and then again taking into consideration comments from the board, we made a few small adjustments to this facade and basically reduced. There's a small window at the ground floor on the very right that we changed to a smaller window. And right, I believe that was the changes we did between. Okay, right. So again, on this side, the changes were less, or minimal, but still we did make one window smaller. And just to reiterate, before we had already reduced the size of the second floor windows and also made the ground floor windows narrower to a previous design, addressing overall concerns of the area. The ground floor windows are increased in height as we had intended initially, but we will get to a nighttime photography of that side in a second, but I think Natalie wanted to go over again the numbers of that elevation again. So that would be page number 7.
So again, this is the elevation comparison. If you can look in this page. So the middle one is the design we presented in August, and then the bottom diagram is the design we presented for the current design we're proposing at this time. So we're making that tall window all the way to the right next to the porch smaller, and just moving what we gained in terms of glass back to the garage. And overall, we're not proposing any change to the glass area of this facade. So as a reference on the left, there was a photo being sent about this property by the neighbor, and all of the windows you can see in this particular photographs, the window size has either remained decreased in size or remained the same size in our proposed design. So we have some additional nighttime photography that we can present.
Yeah, and if you go to page 10, please. So this is the nighttime photography, which is from the corner of Main Street. You can see a reference plan. You probably can see it better on your programs. But looking across the field towards our property, which is somewhat close to what the reference photo that was on, sent into the board looks like. Again, here we discovered that from a regular 5-foot vantage point, looking across the field, the only windows that are visible are the top floor windows. And again, to repeat what Natalie said, was that the top floor windows in our design have been reduced, either remain the same size or been reduced in size compared to existing. And so we hope that with that, a design, if you're not increasing the area there, that it is not a.
One question in my mind is, when we're looking at these things, you're saying that the height of the perspective is 5 feet.
Yeah.
And yet we're charged with being responsible unto our community. And most of them have something that might be higher than 5 feet. So to keep it in perspective, that these vantage points illuminate a certain amount and and to illuminate a certain perspective, but it might not be the perspective that our community
Yes.
has when they have a house there.
We did also look at a 20-foot height, and it's a very small change. I mean, it's very much the same elevation. I do have a few more photos, if that were helpful. Right, so there are a few more from along Sag Main Street. So this is this one. These are those. And I think one of these is from 22. Yes. The other thing to notice, and these are a little more wider angles, you see also some neighboring properties. And the light that's emitted by them.
Yeah, this is across the pond, and it's a
Right,
nightmare.
exactly.
Yeah,
That's Bridgehampton.
that's the other side of the pond, yeah.
All right, so.
There's one on the side of the pond, which is ruthlessly illuminated. I never figured out what the structure is, but it's glowing all night, and that in itself, having your lights on, exterior lighting past 11 is against the code also.
Right, so we're ready to also go through the full presentation again. If there are any other areas you would like us to go over with you again.
I would love to see the terrace elevation. You did like a flipping back and forth between the two changes.
That was.
Page 25.
Yeah, maybe 25 to 26.
Yes.
I think it would have to be existing. What do you
Yeah,
have?
so 24 is the existing, and then 26 is our current proposed.
Right, and if you go back one more again to 24, that's you see here the white.
You can see the double glass on the second floor changed into single, which is a big reduction on the second floor window opening, and all of the double slider you're seeing in these photos, they're narrowed down without increasing the height on the second floor.
That's helpful, thank you. It's helpful. Beautiful house. I like what you've done with it.
Council, would you like to add anything or speak? If you just identify yourself quickly.
Sorry. My name's Linda Martin, I'm representing the applicant here. We're hopeful that with these changes, given the fact that we know all the percentages that we approved on 3 different houses on this street in 2017, that we can move forward with approval and allow the applicant to make the changes. Overall, this was once a very white house with a lot of very white around it. It called a lot of attention to itself.
Yes.
And the changes are obviously designed to make the house blend with the local aesthetic in a much better way. Are there any other areas of the redesign that the board members want the architect to go over?
This glass is here, you're showing us this.
So we have, we're proposing to install a glass that has a 30% reduction in emission.
And what is the glass that is there now? What does that have?
Yeah, we did a little bit of digging into the existing glass. It's a Marvin window, but because it's a little bit old, we can't find the exact glass model. We suspect that it's also a little heat, possibly a comparable percentage in low heat. But we're definitely proposing something that's, if not better, the same as the existing glass.
This is energy efficiency glass, right?
Yeah.
It's not,
Absolutely, it's
Okay.
European glass, it's very.
right, but it's not any particular degree past just the 30%, right?
No, it's not more than
Yeah.
that, yes.
And then,
Past 30%, it starts to get visibly a little bit
Right.
and then that gray paint sample there is, again, like Linda says, we have proposed a very subdued language for the house. So that gray sample is intended to match all the weathered shingles, so the whole house will just have very refined tune altogether.
Mhm.
And not too complex.
And again, that's just for a few details like balcony railings. So the house itself will be all in shingles.
And in this proposal, we did propose an entry canopy and a pergola backyard, minimal metal structure that are going to be painted in the same color. If you'd like, you can go over that design as well.
Yeah, I would like to see.
So for the entry canopy, I think it's best represented on page 6, remember? So maybe you can again flip from page 4. And then that's the existing entry porch, which is a zinc metal roof. It's a shiny metal roof. And here we're proposing a minimal, just thin metal plate canopy suspended off of the house, painted in the same gray tone that you see in front of you. Yeah, and then we also want to point out that to the very right side of the house, we are making that entry side porch more enclosed. So we will, yeah, there's a ceiling light right there in front of that side door. So with our proposed design, going back to page 6, that space is a lot more enclosed and that light would be much less visible. And then for the backyard pergola, we can go to page 40, please.
Should we maybe do that?
Oh, yeah, sorry.
So let's start with page 26. So here you see the pergola as a thin extension on the right side of the porch area. For reference and scale, and then if we can go to yes, page 39. You see that at the top there, as a rendering. Sorry, it's not that much of a close-up, but it's a very thin, again, steel structure that is attached to the side of that porch. And we are removing an existing pergola over the pool house that's currently at the property. So we're basically switching out one pergola for another. And we could flip to the next page, page 40, just to give you again an overview of the proposed materiality of the house with the last kind of yellow cedar shingles on both the facades and the roofs. And wherever we have painted components like the entry window and or the pergola, those will be painted in that gray, which is also represented here. And we will have zinc coated copper for the leaders and gutters of the house.
Thank you. What are your thoughts at the moment?
I just actually want to understand, just because you did do the work of the percentages.
Yeah.
And given the legal letter saying that you were within percentages of the adjacent homes, so can you just clarify for me, so where are you now in terms of the reduction?
Yeah, we can go through the percentage glass post on each facade. That's helpful.
I think it's on 28th, there was just a,
Okay, for the west.
The
yes.
west?
Yeah, we did it for every facade separately. So,
Yeah, so the proposed glass percentage on this facade is 33.7%. So in the design that we presented on July 24th, it was 38.8%, which we received a lot of opinion on. And so we addressed that by drastically reducing the second floor glass and also making the first floor doors narrower. So we ended up with a 33.7%, which is where we currently stands.
and we could do the same thing for the front facade, and that's page
8.
8. Right.
So the current proposed glass percentage is 15.7%. The existing is 15.4%. It's a very it's a 10 square feet increase on this facade.
Then we can go to
that was 828, sorry, right? So that didn't change, 15.7?
Yeah, so we did not change the amount of proposed glass from our
On the
August
east.
design.
Okay.
And then we can go to we can go to page 12. So this is the north facade. So the current proposed percentage is
15.6?
15.6% compared to 19% existing, so it's a 3.4% reduction on the system. So we are reducing the amount of glass on this
Thank you for clarifying.
And
We have one more
there's
elevation
also,
left.
the north side. So on page 32, so this is south facade.
South, yeah.
So current proposed percentage of glass is 20.1%. And existing is 21.3%, so it's a 1.3% reduction from existing. So we're reducing glass from what's here right now.
I think if we did a straw vote, it would be on the paper moving forward, is that correct? Okay. So why don't we make that motion? Again, with these types of structures, we are being site specific about an approval. Because of the amount of light that we're dealing with. Thank you. So just to make sure that that's part of the record path. Okay. As well as the landscaping and so forth. So at this point, I'll go ahead and make the motion. Did you have any clarifying?
I have nothing. I mean, as I put forward my memo to the board, as Mr. White has mentioned, we do have the right to be very site specific. We are governed by kind of the parameters that any glass or regulation of the use of glass really looks to light extrusion onto other properties, the public right of way, or lack thereof. So, and that is what I offer, as well as, Mrs. Marglin's counsel here's letter did indicate that we did approve a marginally greater amount on the property to the west facing Sag Pond. We also did approve a property of 5.6% less glass to the east on 614. So
I feel like that 2017 was a long time ago.
Right, and our sensitivity and our community's feedback about night glow has increased. So that's why I'm pointing this out in this discussion so that it's on the record. So we will go forward with a motion to approve and see where we're at. I personally still am very much against that much glass, but I believe you'll get an approval by the majority of the board. Okay.
Mainly because it was already existing.
Huh?
Mainly because it was already existing. That's how
It
I
was
feel.
large before too, yes. Okay. So
I'm sorry, can I ask one other question? When was the house built? Just curious.
When was it built? 2018.
I think that's when it was approved. I don't think it.
Well, it was, from what I could tell from the records, it
Right.
was already under construction and there were some field modifications in 2018 that came back, so maybe they didn't finish till 2019.
Yeah, but it was a long time in getting started and then a very long time in getting towards the finishing line with it, yeah.
Thank you.
Okay, so the motion is standing, all those in favor, and I'll be one nay.
Well, who made the motion?
I did, we need a second to second. Okay,
Yeah, but if you're abstaining, how can you make the motion?
okay,
Good point.
okay,
Who's second?
okay,
I'll second.
okay. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed, myself. Okay. Very good. Thank you.
thank you for your cooperation throughout all of this. We do appreciate it. Thank you.
Ownership is sensitive to it too, we'll keep it in mind as we go forward, thank you. Mr. Wright, you're welcome to come over, you can talk.
Okay.
We appreciate the work you put into it.
Yes.
How are you?
Just give me a sec.
Yeah.
This is like this.
So next up is 149 Seascape.
Hi, Dan Kissinger, McDonough County Architects. I made a bunch of changes to the previous submission based on the board's comments. Biggest changes we did were color choices. We have the stone material that we're doing around, like the gray material around a lot of these elements is the Gris natural that we had mentioned last time. And then we are providing, I don't know if you have the samples that I believe I sent over picture wise. Okay, so that is the Gris natural stone. We also have a sample with us. And the wood material is going to be the Akoya barnwood design to it. White ivory is the color. Before we had a darker tones, gray siding. This is more of just going to maintain that natural wood tone to the rendering, to the house. We also eliminated the bottom portion screening, and we're doing all landscapes, natural buffers around the bottom of the structure, essentially bringing it so that it looks more like a two-story structure instead of a three-story structure. And other things that we had modified, instead of that industrial look that we were told at the last hearing, I removed a lot of the horizontal bands going across the top. The footprint of the building remained the same. Since it's a flood zone house, we're stuck with a certain roof height. We couldn't introduce any type of barn structure, sloping roofs or anything like that. So we maintained just a flat roof structure, trying to maintain the look of a two-story structure in that way. We changed all the railings in the back from the glass in the previous rendering. We're changing that to a cable railing with the natural tone of the wood going around. And I removed a lot of the lighting that was presented in the last round of nighttime renderings due to code issues that we were discussing. We're open to any other comments.
Excuse me, could you show the previous and the currently proposed together?
Together. Don't know, yeah.
Go to the next one.
So the previous one was very dark tones, we had horizontal trim bands across the top, some decorative screening along the base of the structure, which was all removed. And we were told that it was industrial looking, and we tried to lighten up all the tones and make it more of a natural wood tone instead of the gray horizontal siding that we had previously. The rear of the building, as shown on the screen right now, it was pretty much all dark tones. We introduced just a lot more of the horizontal wood material that we would like to do on this.
Can you move to the landscape plan? Okay. Renderings are showing some good sized trees blocking the facade. And I'm not seeing the like plants in the landscape plan.
Our landscape architect.
So in front of the house, Dean Demonica, the landscape architect, we have crepe myrtles, 3-trunk red maple native plant. So the crepe myrtles can be kept at any size, so they're not really blocking the facade, but to help soften the corners.
But in the rendering, it looked like can you go back to the rendering of the facade? It becomes important because if you're able to soften the facade with, say, winter, is that a crepe myrtle on the right?
The right is a 3-trunk red maple. That's the only big tree that's in front of that house. The rest of them are all crepe myrtles that you could keep to 8 feet high if you wanted to.
Mhm.
And you can see in the landscape rendering, you kind of see the depiction of what we were envisioning.
And is there any thought of the ability to put in a coniferous tree line for the winter periods, off season?
Well, there is a lot of branching on the 3-trunk red maple. Coniferous it's kind of tight,
Mhm.
so I think I can try it after a couple of years. I mean, you're gonna have to like box it and shape it.
Mhm. Or just the driveway,
Excuse me?
or just the driveway. It just seems that it's quite a, as it's been said, industrial looking building, so I'm hoping for some kind of landscape elements.
I personally think the design is still too commercial to me from the front, and then I think from the back, it feels very hotel-like. Neither of which recalls Ecotonic in my opinion. So I think the design itself needs I think a heftier hand than I think you gave it, in my perspective.
I agree with Megan. I think that you made an effort to adjust the coloration and make it more natural. And
show more of the landscaping, you know, in the front. It does obscure some of that, you know, kind of industrial feel, but at the same time, I'm not sure that there was a lot of hand in changing the architecture. It's just, you know, a little bit of the coloration and some of the trees, I mean, a railing, but there really wasn't a railing before, I don't think, anyway, right?
There was a glass railing.
Is there a glass
Yeah.
railing? So I guess the question is there, you know, a way to look at it more holistically? I mean, I think you made the suggestions we made, but is there a way to look at it more holistically to make it feel more like a single family home?
It does tend to still have a somewhat industrial tone to it. Even though with the coloration, I think it's
I think we discussed this in the last round, that the fact that the building has no separation from first to second floor, and that because of the FEMA, you're at the maximum height, it just feels like it's a second story building. I think there are elements in the modernist vernacular that are elegant. My issue is that it's very repetitive without sort of a major or minor. And as a result, the whole piece seems just like an ongoing, as it's being said, a commercial structure, but it's a tall, unyielding second floor structure with a very high deck, which I know you have to have as a FEMA regulation. But you know, the Bates Massey house that's around the corner there, that they somehow were able to break up the structures and add additional ground planes to their what is the ground floor, without it feeling quite as brutal and massive. So I wonder if you could consider adding a first to second floor type feeling and create more of a front or back of house.
So if I understand, since we have kind of like a two-story boxy structure, we're talking about just like kind of manipulating the floor plan so that there's a difference between first and second.
Yeah, I'm trying to aid you in the scale, basically. It's a tall structure with a raised ground floor because of the beam on the deck. And as a result, it really does appear like it's commercial in base, a school or office building perhaps. And I think you could regulate that possibly with changing the way that the first and second floors relate to each other.
I feel sort of like opening up this front area because it feels like three vertical structures.
Yeah.
Which are all sort of similar in scale and like not an entry in a sense. And that's what reminds me sort of an office building. It's like almost like there are three different vertical sections of, you feel like you would go in and go down a long hallway and have three different.
Like a suburban office.
Yeah.
complex.
Yeah. It's almost have a grander entrance maybe, which is nice. I want to take those two and. Yeah, that's what I'm saying, we're almost breaking.
Mhm. Mhm.
How do you glass with stairs? Some of the glass.
I think it's up to you and your client to be able to bring in some residential scale to the project. How it's done, I don't think we can tell you, but
I just feel like there's a lot of glass on the top floor, a lot on the back especially.
That was one of the changes I did make from the last time, so I did really shrink a lot of the doors and glass from the first one.
Yeah, it's mostly glass, it's like not a lot of wall at all, which is.
Any other comments, you know,
I appreciate the effort. I think it just needs a little.
Maybe just for the edification of both the board and the applicant, looking at the code, one of the guiding principles that we have is the structure strikingly dissimilar or present visual discord or an appropriate relation with respect to other structures and buildings located in the village or in the area. So maybe a good starting point is what the general aesthetic of the region, the exact neighborhood the house is being built in. I don't know if the board wants to chime in on that or has any thoughts of that nature.
There is one very similar to it, but as Nick has pointed out, it has a little bit more variation to it as far as just solid mass. But
Does
there's
the
only about 3 of those on the street, and then everything else is quite a whole different stuff. Well, it's traditional, but it was also 70s, 80s architecture, which some of which is still maintained and some of which has been demoed and taken down. But
Does the applicant have any specific questions or ideas or?
it's more of just trying to get as much information from them, and then I believe I'll make some changes.
Okay.
Some big changes.
okay, thank you.
So we'll put this over to the next
Yes.
meeting. Okay, what's the date of our?
January 27th.
Okay.
And the submission will be needed by the 12th of January.
Is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All those in favor? Aye.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you.
There you go. The copy.
You know, I really like it.
Next on the list is 113 Parsons Lane, Shane Grant and Bianca.
Sean, you're architect. 113 Oscar Street.
so, basically, we're doing a window update. There were some renderings on in the paperwork which kind of exposed a few things that you can't really see.
I know, when we, there's so much vegetation around the building, since the pictures were taken and everything has been filed with this board, there has been clearing of some of the bushes around the building, so I can get better pictures of what is there. But it was quite difficult to get into any spot to really get a good view, especially on the north side of the building, because it's so heavily vegetated.
Right, yeah, so the chimney is existing? and
The chimney is existing, we're not looking to make any
at
changes there.
Any modifications on that, okay, yeah, that
But
was.
on that north side there, just to the right of that chimney, which you can't really even see in the pictures, there's a round window. Is up there, and that's one of the windows. Instead of replacing it as a round window, we're looking to replace it as a double hung window. Not a large double hung window, roughly around the same size as the round window. While we're on that same facade, there's also a second floor porch on the north side that looks over to the driveway. And we're looking to enclose that porch so that we no longer
Right, yeah, on the right side.
on the right side and add a window to that space as well. So the same size as the window that would be, that we're changing the round window to. So everything would have some balance in that.
And the roof deck is coming off?
The roof deck, yes, that roof deck we're looking, we're not, right now there's a roof hatch that goes up there. And then you get up and then there's a roof deck. We're looking to get rid of the roof deck. The owners have no plans on going up there, plus they're a little concerned about the safety of kids or something going up there. The hatch itself will remain and we'll lock it for the purposes of ever needing to service anything up there, such as the flat roof that's up there, but they want to get rid of the railing.
Okay, good, thank you. Those were my confusion points. Did anyone have concerns about enclosing that side porch? And that is vegetation covered now anyway, or has it been?
It's somewhat vegetated covered. There was a photograph we just had before. You'll see. There, so you could barely see it, but it's right, so the front entrance there, the driveway, there's a little, it's all white frame, that would be the porch. I don't know, if I have a better picture than the picture, but there you go. So there's that little porch there. It's on the north side, it gets quite moldy there.
Okay. Were there any questions on this?
No, that looks great.
Okay, very good. Any questions on materials or?
So the materials would remain the way that they are, and we'll have everything stay the same color white. We're not looking to change colors on the house. The cedar shingles that are on the house will remain.
And you're maintaining the 6/1?
And we're remaining the 6, yeah. Well, in some cases, they're a little bit more than 6/1.
Yeah.
But whatever the current window configuration is the same way that we're matching.
Great, thank you. Is there any further questions from the board? No, is there a motion to approve this step of upkeep really on this? Okay, Megan, second?
I'll second.
Great, all those in favor? Aye. Aye. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Yes. Thank you.
Should I just scratch that out?
Yes, please. Yeah. So we need the spiral thing or?
No, next is for the.
Oh, that's next, okay, never mind. Very good. So we are revisiting 543 Daniels.
Just when you thought you were done with us.
Couple more things,
Most of
okay.
the other district, I think, my mentor, here, here, Amanda Rocky, University Studios, and Martin, and Christy, and what's she?
She's just clearing the deck here for a second. It's already back.
And we're just here with the main minor changes that bear with the law with the
Good afternoon, my name is Veer Nanavati, we are from Leroy Street Studio with the architects. So yeah, like Melissa said, just three minor modifications we'd like to make since the approval. The first is we're actually reducing the glazing further. There's one window in particular that you can see, the second floor window, which is, it's in a staircase, and it's a large kind of curved window that you can see that we proposed, and we're eliminating it and replacing it with siding. So we're effectively reducing the glazing percentages by about 3% on one elevation and about 7% on the other.
May I ask why?
We looked at the view from the inside as we were developing the interior more, and found that the window wasn't really necessary. It wasn't really adding much. And it was a pretty large window on the kind of street facing side, so we felt it would be a nice thing to do to eliminate it. So that was one, and then the small reduction on the east facade came from just actually resizing the windows. Again, something that we just felt the interior could benefit from as we were studying that and looking at that with the client. And then the other kind of change that we made on that north elevation that's visible in the render is it's a small modification. We changed the entry doorway, we set it in further into the facade. It's more legible in the plan really than anything else.
Is there a page number on that? What are you
Just
looking
two,
It's a whole- it's a
just
whole
two
set.
pages.
So that's it, it'll have yet. There's a separate file.
And then while we're waiting to pull that up, the last change was there were some corrugated concrete panels that were proposed on the second floor. We're proposing at the client's request now to make those stone panels, just to, they're gonna look very similar, but just to eliminate the corrugations. The client wanted that to look more refined.
I think you have in your handouts, because you
Yes.
have, there it is, there we go. This is the before and after on it.
Thank you. Yes, so this is what we're proposing now, and then the next page is what it was previously. Where you can see more glazing in that corner on the second floor.
What this is,
It's wood siding, yeah.
is there slats, you can see through it or
No, it's just solid, vertical boards.
Just a wood texture.
no? Yeah,
Yeah, exactly.
so how much, what is the percentage of glass that you took out?
We took out 3% when you're looking at it from the north and 7% from the east.
It seems like more than that.
Thank you.
I have to say,
I mean,
it's rare.
it's actually, it's quite a lot if you think about it in terms of the glazing that was reduced, but the percentage is the overall facade percentage, you know what I mean? So,
right.
so relative to the rest of the facade, it's not a huge decrease.
And the stone that you're replacing the corrugation, is that something we can see? Have we seen that already?
It's going to, we've shown you the stone, it won't be in this presentation. It's the same stone we're going to use in the nougat, what we're calling the nougat wall, which is a rubble masonry wall.
Oh, that's, sorry, is that this rubble stone?
That same stone that's used in that wall, we're going to use panels of it on the second floor in place of what you can see on the screen are like the light colored panels on the second floor. There are two in this view facing the kind of north, and then there are two on the east elevation, I believe.
Can you show us on the elevation with that, with the drawings? Is that A200?
That's the other.
Or maybe 201?
Right, that's fine.
I would say the other elevation sheets. It's either one before this or after this. Yeah, so. Let me see. So here, what you can see is the stippled panels, these two. Those are what we're replacing. So this is what what Mr. Ravi, you approved in October. So we're talking about these two panels. And we're just simplifying them, just, making them kind of quieter.
And what was the reasoning for pushing the front door in further?
It was partly as we were developing the landscape, we just felt it would be a nicer approach to the house. To kind of just angle the front door away from the street a little more. So yeah. A lot of these were driven by, when we were studying the interiors, which we weren't so focused on when we came to you the first time.
Okay. Thank you.
Any other comments, questions? Ready to vote? Okay, is there a motion? Okay. And second?
I'll make it.
Okay. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Very good.
Thank you, Merry Christmas.
Thank you very much. Yeah, happy holidays.
What's on, the next one?
544.
544?
This is 544.
5:43.
543,
Right.
544, you're not in Lockwood?
This is 544?
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, okay. There you go.
Yes, we were so good.
No, this is okay. You can do the same. That's okay, I just want to make sure I see both. Oh, thanks. That's a good string.
think that Andrew is joining us.
Is he gonna do this?
Yes, he's gonna join us. Andrew Dubois.
Yeah, I'm on, guys.
Hi, Andrew.
Hi.
My name's Angela Bowman from Materia Construction and James Montgomery from Materia Construction as well. And we've got Andrew DeVaris for architect remotely. What we're proposing to do is to move a wall, a east wall from the guest bedroom on the first floor to move it out front and to the south wall. You can see that.
You're not, you're not changing any of the plantings there along the
Pardon
front.
me?
You're not changing any of the plantings there along
No.
the front or anything.
And we had actually counted this area in our coverage before. So we're actually reducing a little bit of coverage as well. It's the same window, door, I should say, not window, it's a door that was approved on the first round.
Yeah.
We're just literally moving it to the front of the house from the side. And this is in the renderings, also in photos. Like I said, it's literally moving that from the east side to the south side.
Okay.
I love this property.
It's a beauty.
Yeah, it's very special.
Any questions of the applicant?
I thought this would be the easiest one.
It's really
It's not.
This percent, right?
Actually, there's another one further in during.
The hedge.
The hedge is there, you're just showing what
It
it
is,
looks like
exactly.
without it.
Yeah,
So to
that's
add some
existing.
symmetry with that and the front
That's
door.
with the hedge removed, yeah,
Yeah.
but it's not going.
It's not
to
gonna
be
look like that
removed.
anyway.
And the existing gate is remaining as is. I just noticed.
The driveway gate?
Yeah,
Yes.
Any other questions? Ready for the motion?
Yes.
So motion to approve.
I'll second.
Aye. Those opposed? Good, thank you.
Thank you, guys. Happy holidays.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, have a good one.
Was a mistake.
Yeah.
Just right?
Yeah.
Let me do some piano.
Busy fellow.
Mhm.
Husband's. We make a joke, it always comes back somehow that from New York.
Mm,
Talk to your chocolate. And the battle.
Yeah.
This is solid paper. Right? Can you drive back here?
Yeah.
Horse, right.
That, yes, that would be the. horse farm, yeah. Yeah. Okay, 127.
Yeah, this is in architects. So I am presenting 127 Greenleaf Lane for the homeowner Ahrb. So I have existing photos of the house. We're proposing to replace a couple sliding glass doors. So I wanted to just give you some existing photos, just based on the previous hearing. I saw you guys want to see existing. Oh,
Yeah, I do. That's really helpful. Okay, walk back.
so the existing sliders are a 3-panel,
Thank you.
3-panel sliding glass door. 3-panel sliding glass door, with a couple mullions in there. We are proposing to replace them with 4-panel sliding glass doors. One on each side of the that 1-story portion.
That was the indoor pool.
That's where the pool was.
Yeah, the pool was in there working
The
very
doctor
well.
had, yeah, the doctor had a pool there.
We also have a three wide window on the one side, which is the right side of the house. And we're removing one of the windows that was facing towards the front of the house.
Mhm.
So all of the doors on the house were black in color, white trim. All of the windows on the existing house is white, so we maintain those same colors. Side notes to retain.
Couldn't get him to do this white trim on the roof, is that? Couldn't get white trim on the roof? Any questions? Any thoughts? No, okay. Are we ready for a motion? Okay, is there a motion for approval? Okay, Megan, I'll second. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Okay.
Thank you.
Merry
Christmas.
Merry Christmas, thank you, Sean.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, the next item. Well, this.
You look very nice today.
Thank you.
The next item we're going to adjourn. There was a question as to how far we can adjourn something, John. They won't be adjourned until April.
The applicant requests that,
Yes.
I see no reason why not to.
And we will do it for the 5 months. Yeah.
No, I'll put it back on April, right? We don't need to.
Okay,
I would say make sure that, close to it, we remind the applicant or we
Yes.
send them.
okay, very good. Is there a motion for that?
This is 565, Danny.
565 Danvers Lane, at the request of the
Wait, no, this
applicant, the attorney is going to south of the border, so he will come back to it.
The census, right?
So it's the April meeting, is that right? Yes, okay, very good. So, do we have a date for the April meeting? Just curious.
I'm sorry.
Okay,
It is
April, it will be the second, 22nd.
22nd.
22nd, that's April 22nd, yeah. All those in favor? Aye.
Who made the motion?
Oh, I don't know. Megan and I again. Okay, all those in favor? Aye.
Okay.
Anybody opposed? Good. April 22nd. Okay, 219 South Main Street. We have, since the last time this topic was before us, the house has been sold, property was sold, and so they're revisiting the discussion on a gate at 219. For the record, could you just introduce yourself?
Hi, my name is Denise Sherman. I'm the attorney for the applicant. As the chairman mentioned, the property was sold in September of 2023. And so I'm before you now representing the new owners of the property for the And so that's why you see a change. Faces up here, I think Jameson represented the original applicant. And I understand it was concerned by the board at the time about the applicant being unable to meet the standards in the code related to proving that they needed the gate for safety concerns, because there was no end user in sight at the time of the house. Now we do have a new family moving in with young children who would like to have a gate for security purposes. As you may recall, this property is a flag lot off of Cyclonic Main Street. Proposed gate is situated 208 feet from Cycle. The only change, which is not reflected in this survey, is we met with Mr. Woodsma, your building inspector, and he recommended that we put a turnaround in before the gate, so that just in case anyone got that far and couldn't get through, they'd have the ability to turn around and obviously go back in the other direction. So you do have a new, or you should have a new set of plans or a new survey, but I also have them up here. Should I hand those up?
Could we just have one to?
Sure.
Thank you.
I tried to-
That's fine.
I highlighted in yellow where the turnaround is. So you don't have to sort of search for it.
This was the sheriff's one.
Thank you.
And the gate is where we were talking about having it the last time.
Yes, same location.
Which is basically out of, basically out of.
So it should be out of eyesight from Saginaw Main, because there is a bend in the driveway and the gate is after the bend in the driveway. So we try to put it in a location where, you know, it would not be visible to passersby on Saginaw. We did submit an aerial just so the board can get sort of an overview of the area and see how far back the gate would be.
I think we have the aerial. Or- Thanks.
So the turnaround is in place now?
It's proposed on.
It's proposed,
your
but
new-
it's not in yet.
No,
correct?
it's this yellow.
I saw that
right
part.
there.
And do you take out the other wide spot that you had?
I'm sorry, see that again?
Okay, so. Okay, yep. There was like a pass by.
Oh, a
area.
smaller one, yes,
Right,
yes.
okay.
Yeah, that's been removed and we put the turnaround there in place. And it-
And this is the right spot. What we're proposing is kind of go back here and
Can you mark?
this much.
Yeah, can you mark it on here where the gate's gonna go?
Oh, the gate is about here. It's just a little bit before the driveway to the first house.
corner, so. Just mark it for you.
No, this street.
Denise, I have.
It does.
Oh, okay.
Thank you. Okay, let's see. It's-
John,
There's the property lines, right?
does this fly in accordance with the
So what I
historic
suggest,
district and the extended historic district?
so what I suggest, and just for edification of the whole board, the code does generally prohibit gates. I can give you actually the 245-49-7. Driveway gates are prohibited on both east and west sides of Sag Main Street, south of Montauk Highway. So in theory, within this district or on the sides of the street, to read it literally, gates are prohibited. But the board can look as a mitigating factor. This is, I believe, over 200 feet, you said?
208.
208 feet away from the street that is not visible. And if the board is willing to grant this but doesn't want to create adverse precedent, we should stipulate that we're granting this specifically on the understanding that it is not visible from the street, it's down a flag lot.
And it's on a bent driveway so that it's,
I mean, I'm not sure it's completely invisible.
right,
To be fair.
this is true.
It's a slight bend. It could be farther down
I
and be
remember
completely out of the
putting
way.
it could be further in, this is true. I remember going and marking certain areas of that.
Yeah, but it's pretty far out.
I do have a rendering, I don't know if that's in the file, if I should.
This
and
little
that-
guy? This guy?
Yes, thank you, that's another gate that the same gate contractor has put
Okay,
on Sag Main, just to give you an idea.
That's a nice gate.
So that it won't be any color, it'll just be wood, it has, I think, enough, it doesn't have as much visibility or, I know that you want things that are sort of see-through and
Yeah.
not completely opaque, so
Thank you.
that's the reasoning behind that.
And this will open during power outages and all that for emergency services.
Yes, there's a generator on site, make sure that the gate is operational at all times.
Well, the gate design is nice.
So I guess the only question is to decide whether this is something that you wanna flex on.
Would they consider going a little further back so it's really unviewable?
Let's see, I know they looked at the design quite a few times, I just want to see if I remember why we put it right there.
It was originally proposed closer and then we pushed it back. Yeah, it's such a long driveway.
Honestly, I'd have to ask, I'm not sure of the answer, if it was logistical, but if,
Seems like it could move all the way to at least that entrance of that, whatever that.
what were you thinking?
Oh, the old part.
Yeah, it looks like it can move into this side.
Go up here and to us.
Because then we could.
And then you would turn around there and with
Like
the-
there, is that where you said maybe? Was that
Yeah.
where you're thinking?
Yeah.
Yeah, me too.
I think then it's completely.
Where is this?
I don't know, I think that's good.
It's up to the bar, maybe.
This used to be a school or something,
It was several different things, yeah.
a dance theater.
Then this could be a good
Several
term.
different ideas. So it sounds like if you could ask about that, that would be.
Sure, so, yes, I'm sorry.
That would help it
Oh,
fly.
yeah, yes,
Okay.
and then I would vote yes if it were just a bit farther back, so.
Okay,
Great, I will,
very good.
I'd be happy to talk to them about that, and see if we can relocate it for you.
Does the board want, the full board want to see it again, or did you want to do this by committee too?
You too, so that's
We
good.
could do CO2, yeah.
Is there a certain degree of how far back that we can articulate it, or?
Yeah, where we showed it right before.
Beyond that corner,
right before the
sure.
driveway.
And Ms. Sharon, do you have any questions as to?
What I'm gonna do, if you don't mind, is just.
You can take it.
I was just gonna draw this online, so I'll make sure I put it back.
No, you can just take it.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
Perfect, thank you, that's great, I appreciate it.
Yeah.
So the motion would be that if we get a positional shift back to where our sketches have indicate so, it would be under review by the committee of two, and we get a quicker okay approval, then wait for it till next month.
Actually, hold on one moment, just a quick
Yeah.
question. This is within the historic district, correct?
Yes.
It still is, yes.
So in theory, I mean,
Extended district, yeah. Actually, it's the area of the ban. Is that of the ban of gates? It's not historic district there, is it?
if it's a historic district, we can't move to committee of two.
Okay. Okay, so we'll adjourn, we'll see you next month.
I'll be here, thank you.
Thank you, sorry for that big
Oh,
switch
no,
there.
no worries. Hopefully it'll be a little drier next month. Thank you.
Yep.
Good going.
So we need a motion.
Motion is to adjourn it to January 12th. Is there someone to make the motion? I'll make the motion. Tom. And second?
I'll second.
January 22nd. And all those in favor, aye?
Hi.
Okay, and I don't believe,
Yes, it's done, it's not here.
okay. So, very good. Let's do the committee of two. Or do you want to do the resolution? Discuss the resolution online? What's your sense? Do you want to discuss this further in session or?
Sure, we can discuss that in session. So essentially, I'm sure, I believe you're all privy to this or you've heard about it by now. Don Lockon has a older building or shed, if you will, on his property, which sections of it date back to and originate with a horse stable from around the 1880s. That being said, he's provided us with a lot of documentation and persuasive argument that it's been gutted and renovated so many times that there really are very little historic bones left there, and the only distinctive historic characteristics left are two arches where the stalls once fronted or opened out to. So if this board wanted to vote to find that it was not a historic structure, that it has no qualms with it being a candidate for a demolition permit, we can so do that. The only downside to that is that we would then commit to a position if and when it does, a subsequent owner does come through for a building permit, that we've already said that it is a non-historic building. So we are somewhat committing to a position. Happy holidays.
Thank you.
So the only procedural thing that we were waiting on in that case is Mr. Lockheim had to provide us with proof of ownership of the property, because the village was aware that he didn't own the property, at least didn't own it in whole. There were LLCs with his children. So if and when we do come back and we do have proper authority from the actual fee owners of the premises, we can make a vote on that. So we do have a draft resolution which can be handed around. I do have some things to add to it. I'm not going to do it today. But just to the extent that we've reviewed the application, we find that the structure is not listed in the 2017 inventory or the National Register, the state and National Register rather, of historic places. It's a non-contributing structure.
Right, but you just referred to it as an application, it's not a non-application.
It is not a formal application. It's not a formal application. We are not, at this time, we're not going to proceed with making the applicant do a formal application because he's already candidated so much already. Going further, you might promulgate an application form for a determination if the structure is historic or not.
But is he actually, I'm confused, because I have been here the last few meetings, is he now saying that he is gonna put forth an application?
No, there was some back and forth, and I understand the confusion, and I believe I actually at one point asked him to make a formal
Right.
application. But, I've spoken with Brian Egan in my office with Rhodey, and we decided we're not going to make him go through with a formal application. We can continue and make a decision on it as is, but he needs to come forward with proof of ownership.
Thank you.
Okay.
If there's any questions as to, it's an interesting experiment trying to look at the historicity of the building or the lack thereof. And I think that going forward, it's always going to be very case by case.
So what do you need from us?
Nothing. Once Mr. Lockheim comes back and once we have this back on discussion, and once Mr. Lockheim provides the proof of ownership, we can review and I can have it recirculated if everyone hasn't seen it. There's a very, very, very short, one paragraph that we're acknowledging that it is not on the National Register, State National Register rather. It's not on the 2017 list of contributing structures. And I'm also going to add before we do a formal vote on it that it doesn't fit the criteria otherwise in the code associated with historic personage, etc. And then on top of it, we find that it has been tampered with in such an extent and it's lost so much of its historic character that the board doesn't find it.
And that it's not really facing the street.
No, that it's not visible from the road. It's not, it hasn't become a known public landmark.
And also I would add there's enough historicity, as you would say, on the rest of the property
Correct.
that I don't feel the need to say it. It's really raining out there. It's really bad. It's really was gonna stop when the sun came out.
What was that noise?
That's on
It's
the
raining,
roof.
just excess rain. Big drops.
Sounds
So
like.
committee
Okay.
of two,
Okay,
So we can, do we want to move that to a committee of two or do we want that for a little board?
you do?
I think committee too.
that's fine.
Yes.
Okay, so,
Actually, but if that is within a historic district, correct?
Yes.
The property is not,
okay,
yeah, so if it's in a historic district, we can't move it to the COT.
okay,
Okay.
Very good, so we'll adjourn that, well, it's a discussion, so we're actually not adjourning.
Continued.
Continue, to be continued. Very good. Megan has offered to be committee of two, and I think we can adjourn after that. Yes?
I have that Megan and you, now we need to adjourn the meeting.
Right, okay, great. Is there a motion to adjourn the meeting?
Yes.
All right. Nick, is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor of adjourning, and we can go out and take a shower. 'Cause it's really warm. All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Okay.